Let's get started on the serious news here for a second.
This morning, new details emerging in the deadly Louisville bank rampage. Officials calling this an evil act of targeted violence. At 8:38 Monday morning, authorities say an Old National Bank employee arrived with a rifle, opening fire in a crowded conference room. The gunfire echoing through downtown streets, officers arriving in 3 minutes. Inside, bystanders locking themselves in bathrooms, even reportedly hiding inside the vault.
It was on the first floor in the back in the conference room area.
Bank employee Troy Haste says he hid in the break room, then sprinted out the front door. Authorities say officers exchanged gunfire with the suspect, quickly ending the rampage, killing the suspect.
Shots fired. Shots fired here.
But there were still more than a dozen casualties. Officials releasing the names of 5 victims.
I think ultimately this will maybe get people to come to terms with the reality that, like, cops can arrive on scene immediately. You can have armed personnel on scene immediately, but it still doesn't change the reality that if someone can easily go get a gun, if they're suicidal, if they want to fucking kill people, they're going to be able to get away with it. Okay? They're going to do it. They're going to still kill people. So what do? What do we fucking do? Legislation. That's it. Cops are doing their jobs. They did the right thing. They fucking rushed directly in the line of fire. Okay? I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the second goddamn time in the past month where I'm giving cops a W here. Okay? They did the right thing. They're supposed to do exactly that. And they did it. And yet one of them died. And, 5 people total still fucking died. It seems like our solutions to the problem of gun violence that Republicans basically dominate every kind of conversation on are ineffective. Seems like maybe there are other countries on the planet outside of America, newsflash, that have been able to figure this shit out. The ER doctors literally said that because mass shootings happen so much, that they immediately knew how to do trauma response in this regard. Like at this point, it's basically like a separate field where, it's just like, oh, yeah, no, don't worry. Oh, we got another mass shooting. Come step right in. We got it. Yeah, they're turning into like fucking combat medics, dude. It's crazy. They're like, we're prepared. Oh, here's the one, of course, permanent aspect of like the coverage. Daily Beast wrote this article, of course. Breaking, 23-year-old Connor Sturgeon was a former varsity hoop star and finance grad turned banker who had reportedly been fired from his job in recent days. One former friend describes him as a popular kid in high school. It's always the same, bro. This is how the photos be looking at headlines when a white man kills his entire family. Like that Zach Fox tweet is just permanent. Is like permanently stapled to my fucking mind.
While officers were responding here to this mass shooting, they were called away to respond to a separate shooting incident less than 2 miles away where another person was killed by gun violence. This was the 15th mass shooting in America in the first 10 days of April. So far this year, we've had 146 mass shootings across the country. That is already a huge problem, but it's also worse than it was even last year. We've already had 20 more mass shootings than we had the same time last year, Robin.
All right. Fox News alert now. D.C. police.
All right, let's hear what fucking Fox News is saying about it, though.
An update on the shooting that happened at that funeral home in Northeast Washington, D.C. Police confirming 4 individuals.
Oh, sorry. This is a different one. Fuck. Oh, yeah. This is another mass shooting. God damn it.
Individuals have been shot. One of those has now been pronounced dead, a male adult. The 3 others have been rushed to area hospitals. They have suffered serious injuries, non-life threatening. The gunman has not been identified and is on the run. Police are asking for any help in identifying the suspect. Not even clear yet if that suspect was driving or if that suspect was on foot. The police did just reveal in that press conference they believe the individuals shot were targeted, but they don't know why. What led them to believe that is that the funeral was happening and it was just being let out at 12:17 p.m. locally, and these individuals appeared to the police to have been targeted.
At this point, I think like the only way to stop mass shootings is by hoping that there's a counter mass shooting happening in the vicinity so the mass shooters start fighting one another. You know what I mean? I'm calling it, dude. There's going to be 2 conflicting mass shootings that occur eventually. It has to. It has to. It literally has to. In the United States of America, it happens so frequently. Like, there are so many people that are like, oh, I survived this mass shooting, and now here I am again surviving another mass shooting. Like, it happens so frequently that inevitably it's going to converge. If this happened in a state Congress or the federal Congress, laws would get passed so fast, you're wrong. This is the United States of America. It did. A congressional baseball shooting, a congressional baseball game was shot up by a dude with an AR-15. Steve Scalise was shot in the ass. He needs to piss into a fucking bag for the rest of his goddamn life. We may or may not have a dick still. Okay? Literally the 3rd highest ranking Republican in fucking Congress. And nothing happened. And the guy who got shot possibly had his dick blown off, which, by the way, 6 years ago now. Holy fuck. That guy is still very much pro-guns and against gun control. A new study came out that police are actually horrifically bad at solving violent crimes, by the way, worse than we previously thought. I forget what the exact numbers are. And those numbers get infinitely worse when you factor or when you separate black and brown or poor neighborhoods and communities. Study, no association between diversification of U.S. Yep, this is it. Thank you. You found it. Blasian. Shouts out. You found the study. Study, no association between diversification of U.S. police departments and clearance rates of crimes against minorities. Along with high rates of crime relative to other developed nations, the United States crime clearance rates, the rates at which crimes are solved, are alarmingly low. One way to raise the crime clearance rates is to diversify police departments. Nope, doesn't matter. A new study examined the effect of diversification of police departments on clearance of aggravated assaults in U.S. police agencies. None of the measures of representation studied were significantly associated with clearance of victims' assaults. One thing to mention is that crime clearance rates in wealthy neighborhoods where people are, cooperating with the police are also, not very high, for the record. But having said that, there is a very real reason as to why people in minority neighborhoods do not cooperate with the police, regardless of whether the cops are black or not. Because they're still cops. Oh, holy fuck. This is terrifying. U.S. murderers stand a 50% chance of getting away with it, new report finds. We're on the verge of being the first developed nation where the majority of homicides go unclear, it says Thomas Hargrove, founder of the Murder Accountability Project. Real W murder moment for America, I honestly am going to lose my mind if I watch this, but here, fuck it, why not? Kyle Rittenhouse, this double standard is not okay. Kyle Rittenhouse went on Tucker Carlson to do what? You might have guessed it, to defend Governor Greg Abbott. I suspect, I haven't seen this yet, okay? But to defend Governor Greg Abbott's decisions to pardon a convicted murderer who expressly went to a Black Lives Matter rally, drove into the crowd, and shot someone there. But, of course, for Governor Greg Abbott, that wasn't enough. He is going to pardon him, and now Tucker Carlson is petitioning to pardon him immediately.
But first to the case of Daniel Perry in Texas. Perry's an Army sergeant who was driving for Uber in Austin during the 2020 Black Lives Matter riots. A mob surrounded his car in the middle of the street. And we know this because parts of what happened next are captured on video. One rioter closed in and raised his AK-47 in Perry's direction. Perry responded to the threat to his life, shot and killed the man in self-defense. The local DA, Soros-backed, charged Perry with murder for that, and last week Perry was convicted.
One thing I have to immediately mention is that the victim in the situation, the one who got murdered, is also an Air Force veteran. So I know that Tucker Carlson is going to avoid talking about that, but if you want to bring up if you want to bring up the murderer's active duty status, then you should probably mention that the person he murdered is also a fucking veteran. An Air Force veteran. When people go out, say that they're going to do a murder, end up doing the murder itself, okay? As long as, like, they are killing the bad guys in the eyes of Tucker Carlson, like, that's justifiable. Because that's the future that they want. The law should always work in their favor. That's it. There is no reason. There's no rule of law. There's no law and order. Law and order just means law and order for me and violence for you. The BLM component in this circumstance is only utilized as a defense for what he was doing, okay? Like, there is no situation where you could just drive into a fucking crowd with your car, take your gun out and shoot someone in that crowd, and then get away with it. And the only reason why they're defending the guy who did that is because it was a BLM protest. That's it. And BLM protests are scary and bad. On the wrong side of politics on that one. Okay, let's move on to fucking Bud Light and make fun of these idiotic conservatives for a little bit because I'm going to fucking lose it, dude.
So it used to be like 5 years ago, the idea was you do your thing, we do our thing, we don't bother each other. That was called tolerance. You want to dress up like a woman? Fine. Now...
Wait, what? Is Tucker saying that, like, he cares about tolerance for trans people? Like, live and let live? That's the principle for Tucker Carlson? As he cuts propaganda to try and get trans people to be murdered every fucking night? That's crazy.
The rules have changed completely. Worship me as I dress up like a woman, or I'll crush you. That's why suddenly everything, even beer cans, are celebrating and promoting transgenderism. Bud Light.
This is the one fucking one of one can that was made, by the way. Even if it was literally every can of Bud Light that had Dylan's face on it, I don't give a fuck. You're drinking piss, okay? Shut the fuck up.
Has just released a commemorative can celebrating a man who dresses up like a woman. His name is Dylan Mulvaney. Here's Alyssa Heinerscheid, who brags that she is the first female VP of Bud Light, telling us that Bud Light loves Dylan Mulvaney, but hates its own customers.
So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. What does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men. And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you.
Is that a rainbow behind her? I'm start the transvestigations. Brother, she got a rainbow. Everybody knows children only paint rainbows when they're queer. As one of my favorite types of conservative commentary is like when they see a rainbow anywhere now, they're like, gay people. It's like, dude, that's a child's rainbow. Like a child drew that because it's like a very common thing that children draw. You know, you're at this point, you're like afraid of colors. You're a joke, but people did get mad at Pink Floyd. They did. They said, I hate this fucking woke nonsense on Pink Floyd. Or getting mad at the fucking rainbow, the famous rainbow track on Mario. Bro, Bud Light going trans. First of all, I'm on my take. I'm not going to, fuck it, I'm going to repeat it. Cowboys, gay as fuck. Okay? Cowboy culture is insanely gay. Okay? It's so zesty. It is so profoundly zesty. Bro, you wear like $3,000 snakeskin boots that are bedazzled, okay? You wear belt buckles, you wear hats, you sit and you present yourself as like this yee ass motherfucker. There's this like song and dance. It's almost drag when you think about it. Like there is really not much distinguishing what this guy is doing and drag queens, okay? He's just doing it in the opposite direction. He's a drag king, if you will. That's it.
What's happening, Tucker, is people that have been loyal to brands for decades and decades are finding it hard to stay loyal to them, and so they start hunting down other brands that they can go support. And there's tons of up-and-coming American brands out there that people are flooding to right now, kind of like mine.
Yeah, what you should do, you know what the straightest kind of beer consumption is? Locally crafted IPAs made by, like, the fucking gayest dude on the block, okay? That's definitely, like, who definitely votes Democrat, who if you asked them, abso-fucking-lutely absolutely believes in voting blue no matter who. Like, those are the guys who you should be getting your beer from instead. The gayest hipsters. Companies that get woke aren't going broke. They're more profitable than ever. Get woke, go broke has become a rallying cry of the political right whenever they see a brand make the slightest effort to align itself with liberal or progressive values. It's a meme that allows MAGA country to believe that there is an ongoing massive backlash to products that acknowledge and celebrate marginalized communities. But the supposed boycotts never seem to be reflected in the bottom line. Besides, by the time we would expect to notice any effect, conservatives have already moved on to the next outrage. And that's the other problem. With all the companies these grievance peddlers are busy trying to destroy, it's none too surprising that some have slipped through the cracks. Through the U.S. economy, though the U.S. economy is facing headwinds and earnings may be down across the board for the first fiscal quarter of 2023, there's ample evidence that major brands tend to easily weather the anti-woke furor. There's an accounting of several right-wing brands that right-wingers vowed to ruin and how they're faring in the aftermath. In many ways, the current kerfuffle of 2017 was the blueprint for the Get Woke, Go Broke phenomenon. The slogan had yet to be coined, but the sentiment was certainly there. If y'all recall, a Republican candidate by the name of Roy Moore, who was a pedophile, was running to represent Alabama and their pedophiles in the pedophile Senate when multiple women accused him of sexual misconduct. Those women were little girls at the time when the sexual misconduct happened, but for some reason, they're not mentioning that in this article. They went woke. Fox News host Sean Hannity cast doubt on the allegations, warning viewers not to rush to judgment against Moore, which caused Keurig to pull ads from their coffee makers from his show. This was right as the Me Too movement was taking off. In response to Hannity's fans, called for a boycott and started smashing their Keurigs for social media. Y'all recall I covered it. My name is Hank Pecker, and I covered this story back then in 2017. So how's Keurig doing now? Well, let me tell you how it's doing now. It's broke. They went broke. Famously, they went bankrupt. Oh, wait, never mind. It says here that the Keurig Green Mountain acquired Dr. Pepper Snapple Group in an $18.7 billion deal in 2018, forming Keurig Dr. Pepper Inc., the third largest beverage company in North America. This behemoth's annual gross profits has swelled ever since, reaching $7.3 billion in 2022, nearly a 5% increase from the previous year. Turns out a handful of Hannity viewers throwing a tantrum didn't make a dent. Let's talk about unions, baby. Day 2, Rutgers, DKE, Delta Kappa Epsilon remains stoked about the strike and has hung our union sign on the frat entrance. Rutgers University faculty members are striking, halting classes and research. The walkout is the first in the public university's 257-year history and follows nearly a year of bargaining. That's right. For those of you who don't know, Rutgers University literally is older than the nation. 3 unions representing an estimated 9,000 full and part-time faculty members at Rutgers University went on strike on Monday for the first time in the school's 257-year history, bringing classes and research at New Jersey's flagship public university to a halt. This strike, which will affect roughly 67,000 students across the state, comes after nearly a year of unsuccessful bargaining between union representatives and the university officials. The union said on Sunday that the two sides remain far apart on several issues, including a pay increase and the rights of untenured adjunct faculty members and graduate workers. If you know anything about adjunct faculty members and graduate students who are working at the university, you would know that they work for literally nothing, okay? It is basically, they're slaves. They are like the NCAA athlete version of academia. They do all the research, they teach the classes, and they get paid for literally nothing. Sometimes they don't even get housing. Hopefully, sometimes they get housing, and that's pretty much it, or they get paid pennies on the dollar. They literally spend countless hours on research. It's their life's work. That research is published in academic journals, and then the academic journals make money, and the college campus makes money, but they don't see a dime of that, too. The strike was called after 94% of union members voted in favor of it earlier this year. union officials said. But the university has said that it expects all union members to continue working and that it believes a strike by public sector workers is illegal in New Jersey. Nice. The university may go to court to maintain university operations and protect our students, patients, and staff from disruptions to their education, clinical care, and workplace. The school said in a statement, the university may seek an injunction in court to compel a return to normal activities. What are you going to do? Fucking, force them at gunpoint? Oh my God, they're going to force them at gunpoint. The unions argue that there's no law barring their strike. They called the university's position delusional or mendacious. Bro, this is how you know. This is an academic. This is a union filled with academics. Look at this. Mendacious? Bro, what the fuck? She said mendacious, dude. I don't even know what that means, okay? The strike quickly gained national attention with state and federal lawmakers expressing their support. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont said on Twitter, "These workers deserve a good contract with fair pay and benefits now."